Hi Stampin' friends. Tonight I'm going to use the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper. I kind of just wanted to show you different ways to use this paper by itself. I'm not using the stamp set or the dies at all. So I wanted to first just quickly show you the different patterns. This is the light soft seafoam background, and then it has this pretty stripe. So the stripe is two of the new end colors with a soft seafoam. The end colors are the Evening Evergreen and then the Soft Succulent. So then the other papers, let me go ahead and try to pull them out where you can see them, are this pansy paper that's like a giant kind of conglomeration, a jungle of pansies. And the background of this is kind of just so saffron colored diamonds. And then there's a leaf print, which I've cut out to use tonight. And then there's the background, which is the soft succulent colored gingham. Then there is the other new end color, gingham, which is the pale papaya. And on the back side of that is this pretty different stems that you can cut out. And then one more gingham, which is the other end color, which is fresh freesia. And the background of this, has the back side of this has so saffron, like cameo coral, fresh freesia, and then the pale papaya. Just a lot of different pattern there. Last one on this side has the cameo coral with pale papaya polka dots. And then this side has different large pansy blooms on it. Okay, so let me get those put away. So I was planning that I might not be in town, so I have different ways of using this paper all on gatefolds. So I'm hoping that this will not be too terribly boring anyway. The gatefolds are the cards where you take a normal piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5, and then what you do here is you score it at 2 1/8 on both sides. So like I score it 2 1/8, then I turn it around and score it 2 1/8. And what that creates is a card that meets in the middle. So it's fairly simple to do. And then what you do for your layers that go on top of that, you use it at 5 1/4, and the width then is 1 7/8. So you can see that that makes a perfect batch of layers to go on the sides of the gatefold. So I did some work beforehand trying to decide which things looked good together. So that was kind of interesting. I was just kind of imagining what things I was going to put together and what other things might not look good together or whatever. So I went through several choices with this really pretty pale papaya. I was thinking that these would look really nice on there. I started out using the green, and then it was too much green. So I kind of just chose any one of the colors that were on here would probably look great with this, I was thinking. So I did that, and I wanted to show the back side of this purple here. This one would also look really pretty on here, but it kind of creates a lot of lightness. It kind of creates a little too much of the light, the yellows and the papaya. So I went with this one. I thought it would be super pretty. And then I imagined, I was trying to come up with things again that I could have ready before I left to go to my parents. And so I was imagining that it would be good to have some general sentiments that I could use for a lot of different things that might be upcoming. So I did sending healing hugs in case someone was sick. Thought that would be a cute one to have. And this is cut out with the stitched, well, I think this set is called So Sentimental, and this is the stitched, Stitched So Sweetly dies. And then I just imagined putting a few flowers on there. And then, of course, the gorgeous ribbon matches so sweetly. That would be really pretty to put on there. But you wouldn't necessarily have to. So I thought this one was a little simple, but could still be cute. And sometimes I'm going to use the leaves under it. See these pretty leaves that I cut out? And it was really quick to cut out. But sometimes, like this one, I don't think it needs any more green. I think there's plenty of green in this pattern, this kind of jungly almost patterned paper. So I thought that that would probably be sufficient on there, just kind of like it is. I'm using Stampin' Seal because I kind of like the way that you don't have to worry about it catching up inside itself. I mean, it's stickier than I really need it to be, but I'm willing to deal with that for how simple it is to get it out of the roll and onto your project. So I'm trying to center this here, like that. And then I'm just going to put this on the other side. I want to make sure I have it right side up. Okay, that is important. And you don't necessarily need as much adhesive as I just put. Kind of getting carried away. Probably just put it top and bottom and call it sufficient. Okay, I'm trying to get this evened up here. All right. Okay, then usually when you go to put this together, you probably want to put it on only one side, the sentiment. So when you open it up, and of course, let's go ahead and do the inside. We'll want to put a piece of paper on the inside just to make it cute. There we are. Get it centered reasonably well. There we go. So I think you'll want to put a glue dot or dimensional on the back of here. There we are. Typically we adhere the paper to the left side of the card and just try to get it as centered as you can, as straight as you can. And then I'm going to use dimensionals again to put my pansies on. Just want to put, now I'm going to have this go over the edge here, so I don't want to put any dimensionals on that lower edge because I don't want to make it stick up even more. I just want to make it even with the sentiment. Okay, so there we go. Oh, that is actually not the one I intended to put on here. How about I scooch that away? I wanted to put this pretty more orange one on here. So we'll do that. Just one second. Too funny. Glad I caught that before I thought I was finished. Okay, there we go. If you think it needs securing, you can always put a little bit of adhesive right along the bottom here, just to kind of stick it down. There, got a couple pieces there. That'll be all it needs. And then here's my other little pale papaya pansy. Makes that even worse, doesn't it? And then what I'm going to do here is you can either stick it to the card or you can stick it here, and then you'll be tucking it under every time. That makes sense. And that will hold your card together. So you can see there that it would just tuck under like that, and it just holds the card together. And I think most people would figure out that they're just supposed to tuck that under there. And if not, you could always tell them. Okay, so now there are a lot of ways that you could embellish this when you're finished. You could we have these gorgeous in-color gems. Sometimes though, they can get lost. Wait, is this the ones I'm thinking of? These are the ones, let's see. I am puzzled. Okay, that is supposed to be, that looks yellow to me. Let me put them up close so you can see them really well. To me, this looks yellow, but it's supposed to be the pale papaya. So I could see actually putting that on there. That would be pretty. But a lot of these colors would actually look great on here. And a lot of these gems would look great with other colors that they aren't supposed to be. For example, I think Pool Party would actually look awesome with this soft succulent one. So I think that could be really pretty with it. So anyways, my point is I think these would go with a lot of things. So we could put some of those in the corner. We could also just kind of spatter them around. Oh, sorry, I was using that to talk and covering up the card. Spatter it around the sentiment a little bit. Okay, so there's one of our cards. Now let's go ahead and continue on. This time I'm going to use the polished pink, and this is with the kind of, I guess you would say, the stemmed blossoms, because these are blossoms that have stemmed paper. The back side is the pale papaya. So what you might consider doing is putting it on here. And then I use, this is from the Tasteful Labels. Both of these cutouts are from the Tasteful Labels. So I just did them like this. There are so many shapes in there, but I do kind of like to layer my shapes. And since they've taken away our ovals, I think this is a nice alternative. I just kind of wanted to show you all that because I think it adds quite a bit to the shapes to layer them. So let me put a little adhesive on and get that little dude stuck down there. Hold on, I want to try to get it centered. Oh, no, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Okay, let me try again. All right, there we go. Let me put some adhesive on these. I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna go ahead and just put it across the bottoms of these. I think I may have gotten off on that. One thing about this Stampin' Seal, you can always just scooch it down when it gets off the edge, and it's usually no problem. Okay, so now I'm getting this stuck on here. It's easier to move it around if it doesn't have quite so much adhesive on the back as well. So when you get it where you want it, just stick the ends down. Do the same thing down here. There we go. All right, oops, I want to make these go the right direction. You've got to watch me like a hawk. All right. And there's that one. And now I'm ready to put the adhesive on here. And again, I typically want to put it on the left. My dimensionals or whatever I'm using to stick it down. I'm gonna go ahead and put 3 on there. There we are. Okay, so then I'm just gonna adhere this on like that. And then honestly, you could be finished with this card at this point. Then I'm just gonna take these pretty little stems and put them on the side here. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to adhere these actually to the sentiment layer itself because I want them to be a little more free-flowing and I don't want them to tuck. This is kind of too small to tuck something under and expect it to stay. So I'm just going to try and stick them using, if I can find my glue dots, maybe I'll just use this. Let's see if I can get it done. Just right down the side, and then whenever it goes over, I'm just going to pull that back so that it doesn't, I don't know if you even see what I'm saying there. You just pull it back so that it doesn't stick out. And so then I want to put it here on the edge. Oops, sticking out just a little. Tucking it under. There we are. And then on this side, I basically want to do the same thing. And then as I'm doing this, I'm just trying to decide how far up I want to move the stem. So like, do I want it up here like this? Like, do I like how that looks? Do I want it down a little bit where they're more even? So that's just kind of the general thing I'm doing there. So what I'm going to do is just put it down one side. Make sure that there's not any adhesive sticking out. And then I'm going to put it on the sentiment layer where I'm wanting to put it. Here we go. are. And because this is the open side, I'm going to go ahead and put a dimensional under there just to kind of hold it a little better. And I'm sure I have some small ones here somewhere, but I'm just going to grab this edge piece because it will work just fine as well. Just clipped it out. Clipped it off of this regular sheet here. You can see it like that. There we go. So now you can see how simple this was, and all I've really done is cut some designer series paper. I really haven't, cutting out, honestly, that's something I can do during a TV program, and then adding this sentiment takes almost no time at all. So there is the second card. So now I am ready to use for my base, the soft succulent. So what I did on this was just kind of imagine a round sentiment. So I did the sending healing hugs again, and I put it on one of the kind of tiny scalloped edge circles, and then I layered that again on a smooth scallop. And they're, just contrasting colors so that it looks kind of fun and peppy. These are a little difficult to get exactly even, so I'm just kind of doing my best right now. All right, so this paper is the paper that has the stripe on the back. So I'm going to put it, I love how soft this paper looks. It's very soft. I'm going to put the adhesive along the bottom of this paper. You don't want to press this particular adhesive very firmly because it can pull your paper. So you have to be very delicate with this particular adhesive. Okay. Oh. And then after saying, be really delicate, I pull it off my card there. Whoops, too funny. This will be definitely something for Sarah to speed up later, won't it? Okay, get this one on. Okay, so now that I have my layers on, I am ready to add my little round circle. So this one is very simple, very almost boring, I guess you'd say. But I'm just going to stick it down with some regular adhesive. I want to be sure and have plenty on there, but only on the one side again, only on the left side of the card. Then get it as centered as I can. Stick it down. And then for this one, these are both stems and some of the other shapes of flowers. So I thought it would be pretty to put this one on there. And hold on while I search for the other stem I wanted to put on there. There was another one that I thought was super pretty. Oh wait, no, it was this. I thought this would be pretty because there's a lot of purple and pink on this. So I thought it would be nice to have purple. And then the card base color on the back. So one way I'm going to use this, let's see if I can do it where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here are the leaves and the stem when they are facing up, if that makes sense, when they're sitting. So what I was thinking was I want to put it together so that it looks like that. So I can use my dimensionals to stick the card, to stick the pieces together. And in that way, excuse me, let me grab a new batch so we don't have to use so many of the edges. That can actually be what holds the pieces together, like that. And then kind of angle the pieces like I want. And imagine putting them down here in the corner, let's see here, of this card, kind of, well, not in the corner, but off the edge of the circle so that we can do the tuck-in thing. So let's see how that will work. If we stick it right there, can we do the tuck-in? Well, we mostly can. I think it'll be all right. Just going to put a couple more dimensionals. Mainly because since we're going to do the tuck in, I don't want it to come loose in any way or have too much stress. So that's why we have a total of 5 dimensionals on that little bitty bit of paper. So what I'm going to do is just tuck it. I'm going to smooth up this. As I cut this out, I realize that I kind of have a little bit of jaggediness right there. I want it to look smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like for it to be fairly smooth on smooth spots. Like if it's a place that doesn't have a lot of, what would the word be? A lot of activity going on, then I want it to be smooth. And since I just did that right there, I'm going to put even another dimensional. I usually don't show you all using this many dimensionals, do I? There we go. So that I don't have to worry about sturdiness. Okay. So I'm just going to tuck this under here, and I want to make sure that the card will be able to open freely even when I put this on here, like that. So then it's just going to, oh, it did get a little close. I probably shouldn't have added that last one. Just snatch it loose and tuck it further in. Just a little, yeah, that did it. Okay, so now I can easily open the card and just tuck it slightly under there. And if it does kind of cover up, I don't think people will be that horrified by it. But then I just want to add this piece over here just to kind of make it cute. There we are. I'm going to cut this apart. Just cut the dimensional in half. And what it does, it's still fairly big, but it makes it be narrower than normal. All right, so now I'm just going to stick this over here on the side. So there again, you can see that I don't know some of these if they would be too busy even if I added a bunch of bling and stuff to them, because there's so much to look at with all of the pretty paper patterns. All right, so now for my last card, I'm going to use the Fresh Freesia. And I'm going to use this pretty gingham. I do love these ginghams. I wanted to show you the back side of this would also be pretty here, but I think the gingham is just so striking. Think how gorgeous this would be for a baby card, because you know, with all the gingham and stuff. So if you had a baby situation, or even a small birthday, a little one's birthday or something like that, or even just a girlfriend. I mean, this is just really pretty soft paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive on the right hand side, like this. Try to get it even. Okay. Oops. It's about to say I got it just like I want it. Well, not quite. Okay. And then on this side, instead of sticking it straight down, I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow around it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I've got a length of this new In Color Fresh Freesia ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it over to the side. And then loop my loops around. Let me work on how pretty the bow looks, because that's still an issue. All right. Okay, so there you can see, oh, I dropped dude in the floor. Okay, that I've got the bow on there. So now what I'm imagining here is the happy birthday up here with the bow, and then my little, if I get that where you can see it, sorry, my little stemmed pansies down here, and then this large pansy, which I'm going to need to kind of scooch a little, the large pansy up here. And I think it would be pretty to put some leaves under it, but it doesn't necessarily need it. You would probably want to use the dark leaves, since the leaves on the pansy stem are dark. But if you didn't want to, you could certainly just cut out these and not have any green, and then you would have a really pretty monocolor types card. So now you can see where I was going with putting this bow oddly kind of over on the side. So let me go ahead and stick this card together just so that we'll have completed it. All right, so now I'm going to stick this down. Okay, so now I've cut my tails on my bow just a little bit to make it look a little more cutesy. Then I'm going to layer my happy birthday. This is another from the Tasteful Labels dies. And so for this one, you just want to be careful that you get it even because it's a little too large to mat inside the square. But then, so you'll want a little bit hanging off, let's see. This is where it needs to be. Hanging off both edges. There's a little of the freesia showing, and then both the top and the bottom. So there you go. So now I'm just going to put this on the card. And again, I'm going to try to remember what I'm doing. Put it on one side or the other of the card. And then I want to imagine putting this here because I don't want it to not fit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some adhesive right there, right on the spot, and then I'm going to put 2 bits of adhesive over here. So then making sure I've left room for my cute little pansy, I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. Okay. And then I'm going to imagine where I'm going to put the leaves. And this leaf can go over, whoops, that's going the wrong crazy way. Okay. I am too funny with this. Okay, that's how I want it. So I'm going to stick these leaves down and then I'm going to put the pansy on dimensionals because I think that will look better, but I want to put my leaves straight down so that the pansy kind of sticks up. So there I'm putting that there. And then on this one, you could use a glue dot as well. I just want to tuck it under because I'm going to actually let it come up with this layer here. Does that make sense there? So you can see that I'm just letting that not even be stuck down. Okay, so I'm ready to put this on. Just need some dimensionals. Like there, and there, and there. And it takes me a minute to pull these dimensional backings off. There we go. And are you all enjoying the new catalog? Have you found some things that you're going to want for the next catalog, or how is that going for you? Well, be sure and let me know in the comments if you have some favorites from the new catalog. Okay, so I'm at this point, and I feel like I'm ready to just add this little stemmed pansy down here. So what you might consider is just your placement. So like you wouldn't put it up here because that would make it way top heavy. Then you can decide, well, would it look better to put it in the center? Or is it more balanced if I put it over here to the edge? Then you could consider, would it look better since this pansy is slightly on the sentiment layer if we came up just a wee bit onto the sentiment layer with that? And so that's how I came up with putting it in that particular spot. It's because I was kind of thinking about how it looks balanced to my eye. And then again, that may not be how it looks balanced to you, which is totally fine. But just this would show you how this works. All right. So it won't be long until we can get the paper, Marilyn. We are going to be able to order this next class and club. We'll be able to order the new stamps, papers, ribbons, whatever, in colors out of the new catalog. So I'm excited for that too. All right, I want to make that look straight. Let me turn it around and be certain. Okay, there we go. And this is how this one is put together, and you can then tuck this, again like we did the others, under this. So if you're worried about it, then don't do it tucking, just scooch it over. But I really enjoy the tucking aspect of a gatefold, or of a lot of these kinds of cards where you can just make it look like, oh, that's so sweet. And then of course I needed to put the paper inside, but you all are imagining well, I'm sure, how that would look. So there we go with that. So tonight we did this fresh freesia with the gingham and the pansies. We did the soft succulent card with the stemmed layers and then a stem and a kind of a little pansy clump in the fresh freesia. Then we did the polished pink stems, and we did this pale papaya sending healing hugs card. So that's a lot of fun. So anyway, I appreciate you all watching. Bye-bye.